Hello and welcome to this instrumental music flipped video. I'm Dave Hopgood, leader of e-learning for IM, and I'm going to walk you through the instrumental music report for 2018, which is part of our database. First of all, full disclosure, I'm on a Mac laptop using Parallels to run Windows. So slightly different experience to the work computers that most of you will be using the database on. But if there's any particular differences that you need to know about, I'll point those out. But this will just basically be how to get into the database, open up the new report, and some ideas about writing that report. So I'm going to start here and go to my computer and get into this folder, the IMDb_remote folder. So in here are all the files that you need to run the database. Now, of course, you'll need to, first of all, update your database in the usual manner, which is by plugging in a blue cable at your school site, or some people can even update wirelessly. But generally, you need to plug in a blue cable on a Department of Education site and update from there. So update, and then you will have these files. Now, older files can be archived. Stick them in the archive folder here. If that bothers you, if you think you're going to lose something by sticking things in the archive, and I'm certainly paranoid about these sort of things myself, you don't have to do that. What you do need to do is deal with your shortcut. So your shortcut has to be shortcutting to this file, 22 MDE. If it's not, and this has happened to people, they click on the shortcut and they merrily start writing reports in the wrong database. And you don't want to be that person, because you'll have to write them again, most likely. To create your shortcut, you just right click on the 22, the correct folder, make sure it's the 22 one, and you select send to desktop create shortcut. Easy as that. You could also muck around with the properties, right click on the desktop icon, select properties. That's just to change the existing shortcut. And then you have to change the name here to the correct one with the 22 MDE on the end. Okay, so that's the other way of doing it. So that's your shortcuts. Make sure you're operating from the correct database. You should notice that the report is a little bit different. So if it looks like the old one, then it's most likely you're not in the right place there. So this shortcut is sitting here, which is rather redundant because it really should be on the desktop, but I'm just going to open it up from here right now, and we'll show you, and we'll go into the database. So we've updated. We're going to open up. There's our database, and we're going to write a report for a student. So you click on the student's name and you go into reports, and here's the report window. What we've done here is we've created, and this is why I clicked through that other window quickly, we've created a student that actually is not a real student. It's John Snow here. He's now a percussion student at Aberfoyle Park High School, and he's going to get a report for first semester. Now, here's where the changes kick in from the previous report. Previously, you had to go over here first and click a grade. And if the student was excellent, topics would pop up only relating to an excellent achievement. And these are the Australian Curriculum Achievement Standard topics here, the generic topics that we're all going to use. Now, we don't do that. We don't need to put the grade in first. We can quite simply start putting the stored text in. I just mentioned the previous report here, 2017, that will be available. It's not here because John Snow was not around last year. He's a new Year 8 student who's just arrived, so he wouldn't have a report from 2017. So here we go with the Australian curriculum comments. Now, this window will pop up when you click Insert Stored Text. And you click. Now, I suggest that you just move that so that you can see the topics coming up here. Now, John's kind of average. All right, he hasn't been doing badly, but he's just been doing okay in some things. So in this one here, and we've had a few assessments throughout the semester, he's going to be satisfactory there. He's a little better with his musical choices, so he's going to be good there. This is different from last time. You couldn't do this previously. If you were satisfactory as a grade, everything was satisfactory. Now he's good here, but he's satisfactory there. We haven't done a composition task, so he's not here at all. He's satisfactory with his technique, etc. here. And there's 3. And I don't think the oral skills one applies quite so much for this semester. So we're going to leave it at that. Then I'm going to close. So there they are. Now, the problem arises if you suddenly think, oh, hang on, we did actually perform a oral task. I forgot about that. So let's put that back in now. We'll go over here and we'll tick the oral skills satisfactory. Happy? No, we're not happy because all the others' comments disappeared. So this is something I can't stress enough. You need to finish all your work in this box first. All right, so now we need to remember where he was. When you go back to this box, there's nothing ticked, so you don't actually know. That's why I think it's good to have a look at both windows at once. Just shift that around. But now I'm going to have to remember where I was before. And so we were satisfactory here. We were good here. We didn't tick that one at all, and we were satisfactory here. And now we're back. So finish all your work in that top box before you move on. Don't try and go back and fix it up unless you want to start again. And you'll see that when you start editing this box, it'll say demonstrate. @'s the placeholder for the name of the student, of course, and it'll give you those sentences that all come off the word demonstrates, the ability to a good understanding of satisfactory skills. So some of that's changed a little bit. Again, we don't need to put the grade in. We can put that in at any time. Now we have your general comment. So this would be your specific skills related to that student and the instrument, in this case, percussion. Now, a lot of staff will have different ways they like to do this. So whatever works best for you. We've got now 350 character limit. That includes spaces in this box. So you do have to be fairly succinct and tight with your language. And it's a good task to try and see how much less is more in this box here. And you can still say what you want to say. So I'll give you a quick example of what I do. So I'm going to go over to Evernote here. And Evernote's just a note program that you can use that's quite handy. So I've got all kinds of notebooks with assessment comments, etc. There's a whole bunch here. Aberfoyle Park High School assessments. I like to keep the placeholders at the top when I'm writing so that I know what placeholders are what. I'll talk a bit more about that in a sec. But I'm going to actually go straight to John. I've got a separate file for each student as well. So here's John here, and I wrote his comment in there. I've also occasionally used Word. So let's go to Word now. Now, here's the first comment I started with. Again, I've got the placeholders at the top. One thing that causes a lot of headaches when checking reports are incorrectly placed placeholders. And so you really want to check those and make sure you're putting the right placeholders in the right places. So you can see this, if we go up to Tools, Word Count, ouch, 713 characters with space. So we're way over. We're almost double what we need to be. So next I came up with this, and I just edited that. One point I want to make here, John has made satisfactory progress. We don't need to say that. We've already said it. We're going to give him a C grade. Satisfactory is in a lot of the top comments that come straight out of the Australian curriculum. So we don't need to say that. So I've taken this and really chopped it down into just what really needs to be said, including a little practice comment at the bottom there. So I'm going to highlight that, copy it, and paste it into the general comment box here. And when I press save, I'm 2 characters over. So here's a little tip for you. I've used the name here. Okay, let's use the placeholder. So at, when you go to without placeholders, that'll say John, save. Now we're within the 350 character limit. So there's a little tip for you. The placeholders only count as 1 character. So that's a handy thing to know. Now we're going to have a look at the without placeholders. Now here's a little glitch in the system. When it went to this new line, we couldn't work out how to tell the database as yet to push that across and make it under here. And it's also capitalized that letter there. So that's going to be fixed. Just ignore that as you're writing your reports. I know it's annoying, but just ignore it. And we'll fix that up when the reports come back in. We'll tell the database to behave itself. So just ignore that one. But there's your basic report. And we're checking here that everything's correct, that the placeholders are saying what they're meant to be saying. We've got the right gender and all those sort of things. So now I'm going to close because I think I'm finished, but I haven't. I've forgotten to put the grade in. So now it's going to ask me, have I forgotten? Do you want to enter result now? I'm going to say yes. So I'm back. If I click no, it'll go away. But you can still come back later. Won't lose anything. So what's John? He's satisfactory. So there he goes. I'll go back to here. Now we're going to have a little bit of a look at the final product. And there it is. So it's going to look like that. So each of these sentences works off the word demonstrates. As I said, these are just straight out of Australian curriculum. So they're very generic language. And we've made them into dot points so that we don't have to construct nice sentences out of these. They're meant to be dot point, dot point, dot point. You're demonstrating specifics out of the Australian curriculum, but it's very broad. Here, you write your comment, and it's different. You want to formulate a decent sounding paragraph within the 350 character limit. So just a tip, I've always been able to come up with a better paragraph when I've tightened up the language. Generally, I tend to write too much, so it's been a good process for me to have to stick to less characters in there. So that'll be the report. We do have some space here for a signature, but we're going to leave that up to schools because not all staff have wanted to provide an electronic signature, and we haven't worked through that process just yet. So if schools are insisting on a signature, they will have to work through that process with you and get you to get them printed and get you to sign them on site, or whatever the process they want to use for that. Okay, so that's basically it. You've got your Australian curriculum, tick here, and if it's a good and a satisfactory, they're going to be a C. Try not to put excellent comments and then give a C, because that will be questioned when the report gets looked at. General comment specific to the instrument, and try and say what you want to say in a very succinct way. That's it. Of course, you can scroll across here to go to the next student, or you can just close out and come back in and keep going with your reports another time. Later on, you can open this window to see how you're going in terms of getting all the reports finished. You might be missing an attendance. Oh, look at that. I am missing an attendance. So I'm not going to put that in yet because I haven't done all the attendances yet. End of the attendances is week 5. We're only in week 3. So at the end of week 5, I'll insert all. Right now, I can't insert them anyway. It won't let me because I haven't filled out all the attendances. You need to go to your attendance matrix and make sure you filled out everything to the end of week 5. And I would suggest you just do this bit right at the end. It'll insert all your attendances across all your reports all at once, as long as there are no missing entries up to week 5 of term 2. So just make sure in your attendance matrix no red cells. In fact, the database will tell you that you can't enter the attendance yet unless that's all been taken care of. So a little pop-up will tell you that. Make sure you've got your attendances in. That will be the last step, apart from sending back your file, which you do in the usual way. So plug in your Blue cable at the most convenient school site, or however you normally update and send the database. And we'll get those in and checked. Start of week 6 is the deadline. And we'll get those out to schools as quick as possible after that. So thanks for listening. Hope this has been helpful. And this is going to be the first in a series of instrumental music, what we're calling flipped training, or instructional videos on certain things that will be useful to staff. So thanks for listening. Good luck with your reports, and we'll see you next time.